Hey folks, it's Lindsay Hudson with SPS back in the building over at the Mix downtown Detroit in Greektown. It's a great night. I'm here with a great person and a great crew. We're having the SPS live broadcast. I have Miss Anika McEvans representing the Detroit Public Schools Community District, Assistant Athletic Director, and a number of other things. She's a great sports mom. Her young people are doing great things, a great mentor, and I get to say a great friend.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, congratulations on Cass Tech winning the state championship, made history with that.
Yes. Cass Tech, first state championship for Steve Hall D1. So shout out to them. Big thing.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
So for those who may have been under a rock and may not be familiar who you are, and they can see you wear the PSL swag so well.
Yes.
But tell us who you are so we know and we can talk about all the great things you've been doing and will do.
Well, again, Anika McEvans, Assistant Athletic Director. I oversee several sports for TheSPSEdge, including basketball, which is one of my main sports that I oversee. And mom to 3 amazing kids, team no tuition.
Team no tuition.
Yep. Two college athletes right now, both on basketball scholarships, and then a junior in high school at West Bloomfield. So.
Outstanding. We had a chance to talk offline about all the great things happening with the PSL. Can you just give me a highlight reel of what things have been going on? And again, shout out to Jay Alexander, couldn't be here.
Yeah.
Is Jay flying over us right now?
No, Jay's in Japan.
He's in Japan right now.
Yeah, he's in Japan. World traveler.
My guy Jay Alexander. So what's the highlight reel of all the great things that we could? I'm a proud alum as well. I went to Henry Ford as well.
I know.
So you're representing the
Renaissance Phoenix. Yes.
You got all that covered.
Yes.
But just so people know about the great things going on with the district right now.
Yeah. So under Jay Alexander's leadership, we've really been focusing the last 4 years on balancing our resources, increasing the resources for our student athletes and for our coaches, and then of course coaches themselves, getting better coaches and training the coaches that we have, and expansion. Our playoffs for K-8 were this past Saturday. Glad to say we had over 50 teams playing across the city, basketball all the way as low as 3rd grade through 8th grade. So doing really good things with that. We've got almost every single DPSCD school represented.
Right. You're in a unique role because not only are you a great advocate for our young people in the PSL, but you're a mom of great young people doing great. Let's run through the roster of what your kids are doing from the collegiate level, the high school level, and all the other things happening with them.
So my oldest son, Cameron McEvans, just was down in Danville, Illinois with Macomb Community College, came in 2nd in national championship for junior college.
Man.
So very proud of that program. Shout out to Macomb Community College and Coach Liz, doing great things over there. And he's finishing up at Macomb, so we're looking for his next step right now. And then Cheyenne McEvans, my middle daughter, she is a basketball player at Syracuse University. So doing her thing out there in New York under Coach Jack.
Sure.
And having a ball doing it. And then my youngest, Sierra, is a junior cheerleader at West Bloomfield High School right now.
Sure. How much does your children's success and what they're doing, how much does it influence how you do your job day to day with the young people that you support?
It inspires everything that I do. Even when I was very early in my career at athletics, I understood that my kids had a very great experience, and then for some was a unique experience, right? They had not only their parental support and home support, but an amazing village of coaches, mentors, people surrounding them, access to opportunities that thankfully we were able to provide, but also that other people were able to assist us with. And so I wanted to make sure that every child has that same experience. And that's how I make decisions, is I try to look at it from what would I want for this kid if this child were mine. And that's how I live every day. That's how I make decisions every day.
I love that. I think it's important to note that because they need to know that the people in leadership are walking the same walk that they're walking. They're trying to navigate their children having success. I mean, we talk privately about some of the decisions that your family has to make. So that makes you a great resource when it comes to being there.
I try to.
Talk about why a young person should take an opportunity to be a part of the PSL compared to anywhere else.
So first of all, I think the PSL tradition and experience is unlike anything else that a student would have in the state of Michigan right now. I know there's a lot of perceptions and in some cases misperceptions about things that go on.
Sure.
But our children are resilient. They have access to great resources, great coaches, and we're highly successful at sending kids that want to the next level. We've got kids going from every one of our neighborhood schools will be transitioning to college, whether it be junior college, Division I. We send kids every year, and our coaches are very successful at doing that.
Why is that something that is probably an underrated achievement of the PSL?
Because people don't want to tell people that. Then because that's how they've been able to take our kids over the years. That's how kids have been able to go into other schools because they feel like they're getting a different experience or getting something better at another school.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't tell that secret.
You know, and I noticed too when we watched the Catholic League Championship in those games, if you look hard enough, a lot of those kids are right from these communities, but they end up going there. How do you reconcile that? And maybe it's not your decision to make. How do you reconcile that when they're playing at UNB for the championship and our kids aren't even a part of that in that regard?
Well, first of all, again, I'm a parent. So I understand that parents are going to make what they believe to be the best decision for their children.
Right.
So I never fault a parent for choosing another institution. I never fault, a kid for thinking that it's going to be better for them and making it better for them for various reasons, right? An educational experience is not just the team you play for or the school you attend. It's a complete experience. So I never fault people for making different choices. I just know that we have great choices in the PSL and that I have some of the best coaches across the state that are highly successful not only on and off the court and field, but they get kids to the next level continuously.
Yeah, I think that needs to be stated because sometimes people want to think there are no options out there and they're great options, great schools and all that. Another unique thing that stands about you is being a woman in a quote-unquote male-dominated sport.
That's not a quote-unquote, that's fact.
That's fact. It's no quote-unquote real talk, especially from an administrative standpoint. When we first talked during the pandemic, we kind of highlighted that. We talk about the uniqueness of being a woman and how we need to get to a point where that doesn't even need to be an issue.
I don't know that our society ever get to a point where it doesn't need to be an issue, but I enjoy the fact that I'm a woman sitting amongst men very often because I bring a perspective to the table that nobody else can bring. And so I think leaders, people making hiring decisions need to understand that the more diverse their leadership team is, the more likely they are to cover all of the bases. Jay is amazing, but Jay and I work together hand in hand, and there's days where I'm like, Jay, don't forget my girls team. Jay, don't forget my tennis team, right? Or Jay will say to me, Anika, well, the boys are leaving out of town tomorrow also, so there's a balance that I think we have and have achieved with that. So I think leadership needs to understand when they're making hiring decisions that a diverse workforce, male, female, black, white, gives you the best product and puts the best product for your student athletes.
And you guys are doing that for the record too. The playoff experience, both football and basketball, was great to be able to go to these different venues. It was Wayne County Community College, most recently Wayne State. Talk about what it means to bring those type of venues into play for our young people.
Well, we're in Detroit. So we want to highlight anything that's great about Detroit. We want to be a part of it.
I know that's you, Detroit, right? Through and through, too.
I'm for all things Detroit, right? I'm going for all things Detroit.
I like that.
So as a PSL and in our office, DPSED, we want to be a part of all the great things that are happening in Detroit. We want our student athletes to benefit from all the great things that are happening in Detroit. Roger Turner, basketball coach and athletic director over Wayne County Community College, has been calling, he's like, how do we make this work?
Right.
How do we get your teams down here? How do we get kids exposed to this option that's right in their backyard? And they've got an amazing venue, right? So we want our kids to be a part of that and experience that. And also, our kids have earned it.
You're right.
They earned the right to play on the best stages. I mean, our championship basketball game, I would stack up against any game that was played in the state of Michigan this year.
Talk about it. Yeah, that was great. And I like when you say they earned it because it seems we still have to kind of be advocates for our young people with that. Speaking of being an advocate, along with being a great woman in sport, you're a parent, you're a mom, and talk about just a mom's advice to people who are trying to get their young people to take the next step and just what they have to go through and just kind of, give a master class in this time we have on what they should be thinking about when it comes down to their children taking on opportunities to go to the next level, whether it's D1, D2, D3, or as Derek Coleman always puts, D-free and team no tuition.
Team no tuition, baby. So that's number one, right? What's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is free college,
right?
All right. So I don't care if it's D1, D2, D3, JUCO, D-free, right?
Before we even go, why do we get stuck on that? And I'll talk to D. Rice a little later when he talks about that, about this whole D1, it got to be D1 thing, and we kind of lose some things with it. But I just want to add that part.
The society we live in, right? We see the glitz and glamour. I think it's changing.
Sexy, ain't it?
Right, it's sexy,
yeah.
right? And I think it's changing, right? Our young people are coming up in a unique time. Social media, NIL, TV contracts,
portal.
Things like that. The portal. I mean, look at some of the kids that are playing right now in the March Madness NCAA
right.
tournament.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, some of these schools, the brackets are busted because you wouldn't even have thought to even, consider the team.
Right,
so,
right.
I think it's changing that,
Yeah.
the glitz and glamour, even down in Danville for the junior college championship, it was jam-packed, full of people, right? Broadcast, YouTube broadcast, live streams, things like that. So there's exposure to be had on every level. And so I think our young people are going to start to see the benefits of that a little bit more. But I mean, it's just sexy. Who doesn't want to be there?
So what happens when that mom or that dad comes to you and say, Anika, first of all, I know about your professional role, you're involved in this, but I see what your children have accomplished and continue to accomplish. What do I do? And they leave this open-ended question. How do you start to engage them in that conversation?
Well, first and foremost, be a parent. You're raising a young person that may or may not make it, may or may not play basketball. One thing I can guarantee you is at some point the basketball is going to stop and you're going to be left with a child in front of you. Whether it stops in high school, stops in college, God willing, stops in professional, it's going to stop. And you're going to have a young man or a young woman looking at you, and that's the product of what you poured into them.
Right.
So number one, be a parent.
Right.
Number two, you have to invest your time in your children, and it's probably more important than your dollars, right? My ex-husband and I spent more days rebounding with our kids, when my daughter was
You wasn't really shooting in the gym?
Right. When she was cheering, we were at games. When my son was playing football, we were at games. Our time, you have to give your children your time, because what you give, what you show that you're investing in is what they'll in turn invest in.
Right.
Because that's the last part of it. They gotta want it, and they have to work for it, and they've gotta develop their talent. So your investment in being a parent is really the only part that you control.
Okay.
The rest of it is on the school.
So I got the spatula. Let me flip that burger over. Let me flip that turkey burger over to the other side. When you talk about team do too much, when you have parents who are excited, they want to advocate for their children, but it seems that they're overzealous to the point that the administrators and people on the other end may kind of frown upon it, and it may not be the best representation. Maybe you heard of something that happening every now and then?
Yeah, absolutely. Parents, do your work up front. So I took my role to find good coaches for my children, people that I trusted with my children.
Yeah.
That was my part, was up front. That's when I did the advocating. That's when I scoped out and said, no, we can't be a part of this program. That's when I went to watch games and watch coaching styles and said, I don't like the way he's coaching other people's kids. I'm not going to like the way he's coaching mine. Or, she doesn't seem engaged enough in the product, so we're not going to play for this particular program. I did that work, and then I was able to go in the stands and be a parent, because I knew they were with people that loved them, people that cared about them, people that I trusted.
Right.
I didn't have to agree with them all the time, but I loved them, I trusted them, and I knew that the decisions they made, they were considerate of my child, and we're going towards their best interest.
But just to play devil's advocate, can't someone say, because I care about my child, I have to be a little bit more aggressive, I got to be a part of this process, I got to say this, do this, etc.?
So my children are in college now. All I can do is watch the products of who they are. If I had been nitpicking at every coach, every decision, and every time that somebody yelled at my child, they wouldn't be able to handle where they are now. So if that's the goal, is to get them to the next level, the preparation for the next level, you have to let them advocate for themselves. You have to teach them how to, did you talk to coach? Did you ask coach? When the coach gives you an answer you don't understand, did you say, Coach, I don't understand? They do the advocating. Not a single coach that my children have ever played for have ever had a conversation with me about playing time. They've never had a conversation with me about what play to call, how to play, who should have played, who shouldn't have played. We don't have those kind of conversations.
When knowing you got enough hours locked in where you can speak to any sport that's being played.
Just about any sport being played. Yeah. But I've never had those conversations.
Lastly, on that note, what made you be able to consciously make that decision not to interject yourself?
So, because I wanted to be a mom first. And because I've been around this game long enough to know that parents that interject themselves in their kids' lives and in their experience to that level where it becomes disruptive, they strain the parental relationship with their kid, right? Wow. And I didn't want that. I knew my most important job was to be their mom. Right. I give them to somebody to be coached for a reason. And I coached other people. Right. But my children would say, Mom, why do you not coach us? Because I give you to someone else to be coached. I am your mother. I'm your mother. That's my most important role. Right. And if I'm so busy trying to be your coach or trying to coach your coach, I can't be your mother. And that's my most important role.
Oh, wow. Well, you've given us so much, and I know that when people watch this, they're going to get a lot. I want your voice to be pretty much the last voice. Anything you want to share before we go? Anything you want us to know? Any other thoughts you have? And I appreciate the time you shared.
So one thing I do want to say, and I mentioned this on my Facebook post today, Cass Tech, Steve Hall, Coach Marvin Rushing at Cass Tech, those two gentlemen, I want to give a lot of credit to. This state championship is representative of two men that understood their kids could be shared, they could play multiple sports. Marvin Rushing is one of the biggest supporters of Cass Tech basketball. I know he was. Yeah. He's always there. And I just want that to be a lesson to coaches right now that the kids can do it all. They can play multiple sports and be successful at a high level and do it. Cass Tech won that state championship because they had a team full of athletes. They didn't even necessarily have a team full of basketball players. Right. They have a couple really good basketball players and a bunch of athletes.
Very well noted. I think that's another great thing. Another great reason we want to make sure Ms. Anika and McEvans can be in front of you right now, telling you these great things that are happening. I'm grateful for our relationship, our friendship, and will continuously call upon you going forward to get
I'm
your
just
support.
glad to give the little bit that I know.
A little bit?
The little bit that I know.
Her little bit is a lot. So with that being said, this is Lindsay Hughes with SPS Live at the Mix. Appreciate you guys' support. We'll see you next time. Peace.